everyone. Here is a very interesting topic, very scientific topic, but it would be of interest to those who would want to know what is cancer. Because time in and out, time and again, a lot of people come and say there's no such thing as cancer. It's just a business strategy of medicos to earn money. And I think totally misinterpreted. There's nothing called as cancer. Now, there's a lot of research that has been done on this particular field in oncology, and to know the characteristics of these cancerous cells. Now, in 2000, we had Hanahan and Weinberg. So these two people had done extensive research to organize the knowledge about the cancerous cells, to know its complexities, and to unveil them. And initially found that about 6 important characteristics of cancerous cells, and eventually over a period of another 20 years, that is in 2023, now we have 14 different points which are very characteristic about the cancerous cells. So just to quickly understand what is the cancerous behavior of cancerous cells, I would like to speak about it today. Now, the first important thing is, cancerous cells develop from a normal body, right? Now, normal bodies respect each other. The organs respect each other. The mechanisms respect each other. But when a cancerous cell develops from any organ, it loses its respect that it receives from the adjacent organs and the organ that it lives in. So basically, it is self-sufficient of signals. So it thinks that it doesn't require any other control or any other regulation from any other system. So basically, it tries to act autonomous, and it behaves as if it is self-sufficient in its signals. So that is the first point. Second point is that it is so insensitive to the signal mechanisms and the mechanism of the signaling pathways that comes from the other organs and its own system. So basically the cancerous cell in a particular organ acts very independent, very autonomous, disrespecting everything. So that is the second point. Third point is that it evades the programmed cell death that is naturally God-given in our body. So basically, some cells, like for example, the epithelial cells, it has a time limit of its survival, say 120 days. So the programmed cell death is that by 120 days the cells will die. But here what happens is that it continues to live, forgets to die, and it thinks that it is created for immortality. So basically, it evades the programmed cell death. That is the third point. Fourth point is that it not only evades death, but it also actually replicates in its immortality thought. So it is replicative. So normally what happens is that in proliferation, a particular cell multiplies, say, about 16 times or 20 times. There is a set number of replicative potential of a particular cell. So after that, it peters out, it dies out. But here in a cancerous cell, that 16 or whatever number of times its replication happens, it doesn't happen. It thinks that it's immortal. Even its replicative ability is immortal. So it keeps on multiplying without any stop. So that is one of the characters. That is a fourth character. Then the next is attaining angiogenesis. So what happens is, in order to grow bigger, it requires oxygen, it requires nutrients, so it is very demanding. So it starts producing new blood vessels that will infiltrate everywhere. So that is the fifth point, which is angiogenesis. And then the sixth will be to invade and metastasize to all other places. That is why one organ where a cancer develops, it starts growing and metastasizing to other organs. The seventh point is reprogramming of the metabolic functions, like the metabolic activity. Like for example, normally when a glucose gets broken down, it follows oxidative phosphorylation, and 36 ATPs are generated with the presence of oxygen. So this is the normal way in which glucose gets broken down in our body. In a situation where there is no oxygen, then anaerobic phosphorylation, oxidation takes place. So in anaerobic glycolysis, what happens is about say 2 ATPs are generated by the glucose transforming to pyruvate, and the pyruvate gives us the energy. In cancer, there is a particular phenomenon called as a Warburg phenomenon. Here, what happens is, whether the oxygen is present or not, the cancer cells disrespects the presence of oxygen, and instead of the normal oxidative phosphorylation and giving glycolysis, here aerobic glycolysis takes place, aerobic phosphorylation. So here what happens is 85% of the glucose goes into pyruvate to forming anaerobic phosphorylation, and then only very less amount of oxygen is used. So very less amount of ATPs are also produced. Four ATPs only are produced. So this is the next important characteristic Warburg effect that is seen in cancer. Then you have the eighth point, where the cancer evades immune destruction. So normally we have a policing system in our body. The policing system is the T cells that is present, which helps to recognize the antigens, which comes through infections, or it comes through the tumor cells, and it destroys it. So basically cancer cells, what happens is, it evades, and like a thief, it hides, and it escapes the normal immune system that our body has. The next important point, that is a ninth point, is inflammation. So normally we have in our body normal function, the cells are not good in condition, there is no issue. Some inflammation happens, say in the mouth, like a teeth bites the tongue. By mistake, the teeth hurts the tongue. There is an inflammation. Constantly that inflammation is continuing to be there. The sharp teeth is constantly irritating that area. That inflammatory area becomes a cancer. Another example, gastritis. Somebody says, I have just a mild gastritis ulcer. They keep taking pan and Rantac and continue that. But they're not doing a proper evaluation of doing a scopy and finding out what's happening. So that gastritis can become an ulcer becomes a cancer. So any inflammation, itis means inflammation. So anywhere in the a cholecystitis, bladder cystitis, anywhere any inflammation should be attended to, basically treated well, and find out the cause, and make sure that it resolves. Otherwise, inflammation itself can cause eventually cancer. So that is a ninth point. Then we have the 10th point, which is phenotypic plasticity or disrupted differentiation. What is this? This is a very new phenomenon, and it's a very new discovery. What happens is, normally we have these totipotent, pluripotent, multipotent cells in our body, in the embryo stage. So that cells will differentiate into different organs being brain, neural tissue, GI tissue, liver tissue, kidney tissue, and so on. So once it differentiates, it stays there as those particular organs, and it doesn't revert back. So normally the organs are formed and the organs function that way. But what happens in a cancerous cell, where some of the pluripotent cells, instead of differentiating into a particular organ, in a particular organ itself, what happens is, this pluripotent cells reverses back to its pluripotent state, and in an undifferentiated manner multiplies and becomes cancerous. So it is difficult in that situation. It's very, very a dicey situation. You can't find out which organ this particular tumor has come from, because it's an undifferentiated state. Has it come from the liver? Has it come from the breast? Has it come from the bladder? Or has it come from the brain? We are not able to find out. So it's an undifferentiated cells that it has reversed itself back, switched itself back to the the previous stage, and from there it has started becoming malignant. So this is one of the thing. And also in the phenotypic plasticity is also akin to that same phenomenon. And then we have this 11th point, where there is non-mutational epigenetic reprogramming. That is, we have these genetic mutations, right? So those mutations, it can be germline. If it is germline, it can transfer to the next generation. If it is somatic, it doesn't go to the next generation. So that is how the mutations are in the genetic. This is non-mutational epigenetic, that is parallel to the genetic mutations. There is some epigenetic dysregulations that happen, which is not transferred to the next generation, but it can be abrogated or attenuated at any time. It can be actually changed even in lifestyle measures or with medications. So these epigenetic transformations also can produce cancer. So that is 11th point. And the 12th point is, lots of microbiome is there in our body, like in our mouth, in the gut, in the GI tract, in the vagina. So many 40 trillion microbiomes are there, which are extremely important for a healthy living. Now, when there is change in the microbiome in our own system, in the gut, colon cancer can happen. In the mouth, it can be prone for oral cancer. So that is why microbiome, the normal gut bacteria, the flora and the fauna in our own system is very important. That is the 12th point. The 13th is a senescence, that is aging. Aging of the cells itself can trigger malignancy. And the last point is the genetics, which I already explained about the genomic instability that can happen. That is, sometimes what happens is some affliction happens in the genome and it repairs itself, but there can be a scar. And that scar eventually, after a period of time during our life, it can get reactivated. Genomic instability can trigger off a cancer. So that is also, and eventually, a lot of other characteristics are being found with the development of science, about how different complexities are arising cancerous cells. So I hope I've explained to some extent the different characteristics that has attributed to the cancerous cells. Thank you.